Then I got to finish packing stuff everywhere. Hey, everybody. Happy Wednesday night. It's hard to remember what day of the week it is on this crazy week with Labor Day, but hope you're doing well. We are getting ready to record Monday's show, so just hang out with us as we talk with Daniel out in Delaware about his trip last January down to Walt Disney World. We're going to talk a lot of Genie Plus and why we use it some days, why we don't other days. Coronado looks like Boardwalk Villas. Good stuff. Tours and why Starbucks to start the trip can be a good call. I don't like Starbucks, but I get it from my girls sometimes just because I think the same reason you did, just to keep everybody happy. All right, let's see here. Let's click this. All right. What's going on? Send now. Okay. All right. We are going to get started. 2352.
It's a lot of shows.
Man, tell me about it. I don't even want to think because they're all about 40 minutes at least. Oh my god!
I don't know if I'm 20 and I can remember listening to it in since I've been like.
So we started when you were 5. Yeah, because we've been doing it for 15 years. It'll be 16 years next March. Oh my god! I know because my daughter was 2 months old and she'll be driving in January. Wow! Oh my god! You just made me feel old. All right. Here we go. 2352. Okay. Welcome to episode 2352 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com. And of course, one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Monday to you. Hope you're having a great week already. And thanks to everybody who was a part of the great weekend down at Give Kids the World this past weekend. Of course, we're recording this show before we hop out of town. We record these podcasts on Wednesday evenings for the following Monday. So I'm, at the time of recording, scrambling to make sure I have all the proper cables and connections and microphones and headphones for everybody for the big broadcast from Give Kids the World. But I'm hoping everything went well. Most importantly, everybody had a good time and that we raised a boatload of money for the families down at Give Kids the World so we can all get together as a podcast family and hopefully ease some of that pain that these families are going through. So thank you so very much to everybody who donated, who were part of the auctions, who donated items, who volunteered their time on Friday. I cannot thank you enough for just thinking of the families down at Give Kids the World. And thanks to Give Kids the World for opening their doors and allowing us to help them with their mission. It was a great thing. So we're excited to be partnered with them, and we'll have more details as this week unfolds, because Wednesday and Friday we'll be able to talk about the weekend. But right now we are going to talk about a great trip report. We're headed out to the wonderful state of Delaware. Shout out Jeanette, one of our great agents over at the Magic for Less. She's in this state as well. We're talking to listener Daniel today. Daniel, what's going on? Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. How's it going?
It's going well. So heat wave as we're recording out that way, right? It's back to school, but Mother Nature didn't get the message.
Oh no, very hot.
So you guys gonna
just to cool down?
Yeah, you guys gonna make it? Because I know a lot of places out on the that way are not equipped for like super hot weather, I think, right?
I mean, I think we've been doing good so far. Not a lot of outside time though.
That's good. All right. So before we jump into the trip report, which we're going to go back to January, which is kind of nice because we can kind of think about cooler times, even though Walt Disney World's still pretty warm all the time. What's your backstory with your Disney fandom? Because you were mentioning you've been listening to the podcast for quite a while and you're on the younger side. So it kind of made me feel super old before we hit the record button, but I'll let that go. But what gets you listening to Disney podcasts? How did it all start for you?
Yeah, so my first trip was back in over Christmas of 2012, and I got immediately bit by the bug. And then I didn't take another trip. We started to take trips those like every 2-3 years, and then pretty recently. Me and my mom have started to go a little bit more recently. So like, I mean, last year was a busy year for us. We went twice. Um, yeah, I listen to podcasts all the time. Yours, other podcasts, stuff like that. Yeah.
Cool. So those past trips though that you kind of fell in love with going to Walt Disney World, is there a memory or two that sticks out, like a favorite resort, a favorite experience that you had growing up that just still sticks with you?
Honestly, I think the trip planning part is really what got me into it. Sitting at the kitchen table with my mom, putting all these plans together, trying to put the best vacation for my family together.
I like it. So what kind of resources do you use? Because same, that's kind of how I fell in love with Walt Disney World, because it's almost like a mini job. Well, I've made it a career at this point, but before I did this, when I was a teacher, it was that aspect that you would have websites, you would have, podcasts to listen to, you would have books. I'm so old again, books from the library. Um, back then, V bulletin message boards, before social media was prominent. So what kind of resources did you kind of pull together at the kitchen table to put together trips?
Yeah. So when we first started, like I've heard you say the Burn Bombs guide a lot.
Mhm.
We've had a few of those, but uh, we use touring plans a lot, stuff like that. As a younger person, I guess social media is something that is pretty prevalent in my life. So stay up to date with all those blogs there. Um, Pay attention to the news, opinion articles, stuff like that. And I mean, now we just go against our own like experience, and we're able to kind of think about what we've done in the past and what we want to do again.
Cool. So you're pretty connected. Let me ask you just something right off the top, and then we'll jump into the trip. What do you think right now Disney's doing well, and what do you think Disney could do better when it comes to the theme parks? When we're talking specifically theme parks, like what do you like as far as their trajectory, and what do you wish that they would do slightly better?
Yeah. So I know this might be a little controversial, but
That's
I do
fine.
like the IP.
Mhm.
I like that it brings a lot of people into the parks and that it keeps growing. But on the other hand, I do like the park specific things like Carousel of Progress, all the old stuff like that. I do wish that we kind of had some of those pre-COVID like resort benefits. Like, we have the early entry, but I and we use that a lot. But the early morning, early magic hours, and extended or the late
Yeah,
eve,
yeah, yeah,
the
extra magic hours.
extra
Yeah,
magic hours
yeah.
in the evening. We really like those. I wish that all the resorts had that, but yeah, stuff like that would be nice for all the resort guests.
I think that's spot on. Things like Magical Express, that was a
Yeah,
huge perk for being on site. And you're exactly right with the extra magic hours. It might only be one park on Tuesday, but it was nice to be able to stay at the Magic Kingdom two. Originally it was 3 hours
yeah,
after the park closing if you're a
and a
resort
lot of
as
like
well.
I know me and my family, we would almost like kind of plan our trip around getting to those extra magic hours and specifically go to the Magic Kingdom for that specific night because it had those extra hours in the evening.
Right, and what it did too, I mean, we're kind of reminiscing here at this point, but what we would do, because we were always traveling in the summer with my wife and I being a teacher, is it made the vacation a lot less stressful, because we figured, well, we don't have to be in the park when it's hot over the summer. We can get to the park at we can even go as late as, we would go in the morning and then take a midday break, but we wouldn't even go back to the park till say like 7:30, 8 o'clock at night, because we might still be in the Magic Kingdom at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and then to sleep in the next day a little bit. It was really a different way to kind of think about it. And the thing was, you were not paying extra for an after hours event, which
Yeah,
comes cost prohibitive when you have a family sometimes.
and you didn't have to stay at a deluxe resort.
Yeah, exactly. Because we were always at Pop Century. That's exactly where we were every time. All right, well, good thoughts. I like that. That's very interesting stuff. So let's talk about your trip. We're going to talk about this trip you took in January. So how did this trip come together?
Yeah, so like I said, me and my mom are kind of the big ones in the family who were into these trips, and we had done two trips prior that two of us were down there, and we were kind of like, yeah, we love being down here, just the two of us, because we're able to do what we want to do, but we also kind of are missing our family a little bit and want them to be down here and share it with them too. So with me and my sister both being in college, we kind of have to plan around like summer and winter break, and our summer breaks are kind of busy. So we decided that the week after the marathon was going to work out for best of us because her winter break goes longer and mine doesn't. So that week right there was kind of the sweet spot for us.
When I saw these dates, were these at the beginning? So Sunday, January 8th, when you got there, that is Marathon
Yep, that was the
Sunday, right?
marathon.
Okay, I was gonna say,
Yeah,
I was running it, but I was like, that looks awful close to Marathon Sunday. And
yep.
yeah, I was gonna say, yeah. Okay. So do you have any trouble with transportation getting in?
Actually, we did. So right before we left, I looked at my mom, was like, that's Marathon Sunday, and I don't know if the Sunshine Flyer is going to really take that into account. So we were staying at Coronado, and like I said, we took the Sunshine Flyer. Um, we stopped at a few other resorts beforehand, and Coronado was the last one on the list. Uh, and I was right; they didn't take into account the road closures. So we kind of drove around property for like 30 minutes,
Right. Because
like trying
Coronado,
to.
we ran right in
Yeah,
front of Coronado. I mean,
yeah, we saw you
that's
guys
late
going
in
over the
yeah,
bridge and
that's
everything like
late.
that.
Yeah, that's late in the race. That's like mile
Yep.
20 something. Yeah.
So that was kind of annoying, but at the same time, we were still waiting for our room notification, and we got it while we were sitting on the Sunshine Flyer at like 11:30 or something like that. So it was kind of a blessing in disguise that we weren't kind of like homeless for a few minutes.
I hear you. I'm actually checking into Coronado tomorrow, so I'm hoping I'm not homeless at Coronado too, as we're recording. And if you're listening on Monday, I'm back home, hopefully, back in St. Louis. Okay, so we'll make sure we cover all this. So you got to Coronado. Let's give us a quick review of Coronado. What did you think as far as staying there for folks that might
Yeah.
be staying there soon?
So in a past trip we were there, and I personally fell in love with the resort. We went to the Dahlia Lounge on top of Coronado, and I love the view and stuff like that. And this kind of we extended our trip a day in front to that marathon Sunday because I really wanted to stay at Coronado. We stayed in the tower on a water view. We could see Expedition Everest from our room. We were all kind of tired when we got there, but my sister went out and did the running loop around the resort. She really liked that. And me and my parents went down to the little market area and got some Mickey ice cream bars. It was really nice. We were only there for a day, but I would definitely consider staying there time and time again. It was really
Yeah,
fun.
I love that place. I just
Yeah,
it's got to me it's probably the highest value. Of course, it's a moderate, but like for what you get for the dollars you pay,
yeah,
Coronado's hard to beat. It really
yeah.
is. I mean, it's more
Just the
expensive than the values, but you get a
yeah,
better experience.
just the feel of the resort now that they added the tower is just so impressive.
Okay, so you guys looks like you went over to Sanaa that night. Took an Uber, smart. uh, quick review of Sanaa.
Yeah, so we really wanted to do Sanaa because my dad loves the animals there. We were lucky enough that we got to sit right on the savannah there. It was kind of starting to be sunset time, so that was perfect. We got the animals. The food was great. I don't remember exactly what we got, but we got the bread service, of course. Other than that, yeah, it was a great experience. Love Sanaa. I don't know if we need to do it every time, but it was something that we really enjoyed.
I think that's a great thing to throw in there. These restaurants, you got to kind of, not try to hit the same ones every trip, especially if you're somebody that goes down, annually or, a couple times a year, that you want to make sure you get around to everything. So even if it is a favorite, you gotta leave it on the table here, for every 3 years or something, because there's so many great restaurants at Walt.
Yeah,
And I'm telling myself that because I have my favorites and I tend to always want to go back. And that what that does, it restricts me from going to new places. That's a
yeah.
good call. That's good advice. Okay, so the next full day, so you're there. It's Monday, and probably medals everywhere. By like me with my dopey medals, trying to get my pictures real quick. Clang, clang, clang everywhere. Probably driving everybody like you crazy. But you guys, I like this idea though. You split up as a family. Some folks slept in. Some folks rope dropped for early park entry. You did buy Genie Plus for this day, so it looks like you headed over to Magic Kingdom.
Yep.
All right. Okay. So give us some highlights.
Yeah, me and my mom, we're the really park heavy people. We're the really Disney World heavy people, to be honest. So we're first day is like we gotta be there. So we woke up, got there for early park entry. Um, we rope dropped the Fantasyland area. A lot of people go to Seven Dwarfs. It's not one of our like marquee attractions. We don't need to ride it every time. We don't ride it every time. So we went over to Peter Pan. We did that. Uh, and then we walked over to Small World, and then we were kind of like, we don't want to do everything without our other party members, so we kind of just walked around the open spaces, took in the ambiance of the lands, and then we got our waffles and saw all the people taking their park medals in the morning.
That's great. The fact that you didn't have to be because I mean, I'm guilty of that too, right? When you're there early and you're trying to maximize those 30 minutes, you're like, I got to make sure I get the most and I'm ahead of everybody. But you guys, I'd be jealous. You're taking it in. You're just like soaking it in. I mean, nobody soaks it in those first like 30 minutes. It's a
It's
mad
hard.
rush. That's crazy. I love it though. So you got the Nutella waffle. I mean, God,
Yep.
you're living life the right way that morning. I
Yep.
don't
all
know if
the
I
all the
ever do that.
marathoners and dopey runners taking their pictures right there in front of the castle and everything. It was pretty fun to see.
Yeah, I think I did. Can't I think I did mine at Epcot this time. I don't know. I don't think I came back to Magic Kingdom. I can't remember. I've done so many of them at this point. I can't remember where I got my pictures this past day. Anyway, okay. So it looks like everybody came back to. I love that you put this in the notes. You suffered for the family the Starbucks line because it pays off
Yep.
because everybody's happy. I don't drink
Yeah.
coffee. I don't go to Starbucks ever, but my daughters do. And I've been there, man. I've been in that Magic Kingdom Starbucks. Whew,
The
okay, you
it's
paid
it's
for it.
insane.
It is. It's rough.
It's all right
So
though. It got my sister through the morning. She was really just needed that Starbucks, and we waited there. It was good. We were there for them. We don't need to be going crazy. Like we said, we had Genie Plus, so we weren't really worried about time. So we stayed in that Starbucks line, made her happy, and in turn, it made all the rest of us happy.
okay, real quick, about the rest of the day, GD, you had GD Plus. Did you find you got the value out of it? Did it get you? Do you think it gave you a huge advantage over not having it? Because you had some days where you didn't have it later in the week. I mean, compare the two.
Yeah, I think generally we do get Genie Plus now. Um, Especially when it's just the two of us, we find that like we do have to be conscious about it not running our day, but we like to have those things where we can just take our time, go from attraction to attraction, and enjoy it like that. But yeah, I think generally we do feel like we get our money's worth out of it, especially at Magic Kingdom.
Cool. Okay, so now here's another thing that I think I'd like to have you speak to because you know exactly what's going on. You're good at this. You guys had to make your resort change for folks that do split stays. You changed your resort from Coronado over to the Boardwalk Villas on this day, and then you were going to go to Epcot that evening. You're changing parks too. So talk to us about the logistics of the split. You're changing, you're getting your stuff from Coronado over to Boardwalk Villas, plus you're going to end up going to a park that evening. How was that logistically? Was it smooth? Were there any hiccups? Advice?
Yeah, so because we had our two party members at Coronado in the morning, we had them talk to the bell services and drop our bags off and stuff like that. But we were done at Magic Kingdom a little earlier than we expected, and we got over to Boardwalk, got our room together and stuff like that, but our bags weren't there. And my sister, being an 18-year-old girl, she really wanted to change and stuff like that.
Yep.
So um, she convinced my mom to drive over to Coronado with her and get an Uber over to Coronado and pick our bags up there themselves. In the grand scheme of things, it wasn't that big a deal. Um, Everybody thinks that everything is so spread out over there, but in reality, it was like a 5-minute Uber across the street. So they got their bags there, got them over to Boardwalk, took a little bit of a breather. We were in a one-bedroom villa, so we were able to spread out, take our time, get prepared for the evening, and head over to Epcot in the evening because we were able to just walk over there.
And I always say for folks that are thinking about doing the split, if you have a rental car or if you can take an Uber or a Lyft or some kind of transportation, it is best to have your own bags moved. Like if you can take control of your own luggage and bring it from one to the other, that's the best because you're always going to have it and you're going to be able to have it immediately. Disney will move it for you. And I've had them move it for me many times because like I'll fly and I decide not to take an Uber when I switch hotels and it's fine. But there was one time we switched from Pop Century to Beach Club over a marathon weekend and my sneakers were in, of course, the bag that was in transit and the bag didn't show up for like 8 hours. And I wanted to go to bed because I was running the next morning, had to be up at 2 o'clock in the morning. And, it was getting to be like 7, 8 o'clock at night and hadn't shown up. So it's just one of those things. If I would have just taken an Uber with my bag, I was trying to save $15. So that's a good piece of advice to think, yeah, well, maybe I could just take an Uber over, throw my bags in the trunk, and then you're just done with it. It's like you don't have that mental tax for the next 6 hours. Like when's my bag going to get here? When's my, did it get lost? You just lose that because you don't want stress on vacation. But I'm glad you brought that up. Okay. So that evening in Epcot, you guys looks like you switched it up last minute, went over to Coral Reef. We never talk about Coral Reef. And I hope you had a good experience, but I don't know because I like it because it feels like 1980s still Epcot. What'd you guys think?
Yeah, so we originally planned on eating in San Angelo Inn, but my sister really wanted to eat at Coral Reef. So on the Sunshine Flyer that day before, we switched it up. We didn't tell her beforehand because we wanted to surprise her. But I mean, my mom was hoping that it was a hidden gem. Neither of us really felt it that way. We felt it was fine. The food was adequate. The aquarium aspect is pretty cool, but I don't think that we really need to do it again. I'm
Yeah.
not saying that we won't, but it's not something that we really are really looking for every time that 60-day window opens.
That's what we hear. It's kind of average. It's kind
Yeah.
of like that retro nostalgia. Like if you need a nostalgia hit, it's there. It's got the aquarium that's super cool. But it's, other than that, if you once you get beyond the nostalgia and the coolness of the aquarium, it's a restaurant. Yeah.
Yeah.
I keep hearing that. You said exactly what I hear from everybody. That's funny. Now you mentioned you guys did get a Guardians group, and I'm really interested in this. 3 out of the 4 enjoyed it. So that means 25% didn't. So tell us about your experience over there.
Yeah, so since we were there for the extra evening hour or the deluxe evening hours, we were able to get that 6 o'clock boarding group for Guardians. Me and my mom had already been on it before, and we love it. We loved it so much. It's so fun. And my sister's she's a thrill ride person, so she enjoyed it. My dad is not so much of a thrill ride person, and my mom kind of fibbed the truth a little bit to him by telling me it's a kind of a roller coaster, kind of not a roller coaster. It's
Uh,
definitely a roller coaster,
yeah, it is.
but he didn't love it at all. But we got the most fantastic on ride photo of all time.
Oh, your poor dad. Oh, that's what dads do, though. That's pretty good. So, what'd you think of the deluxe evening hours, though? Since you guys were obviously over Boardwalk and you qualified, was it? I mean, was this something? Because you mentioned the extra magic hours, or from pre-COVID. What did you compare the two? What did you think of this?
Yeah, I love that it gives you the ability to go on some rides that you don't have to wait for as much. We did the two main attractions over there. We did Guardians and we did Remy's. But apart from that, it just kind of feels like the park is kind of like shut down. Not a lot of the other opportunities are open. Some of the ambiance just feels a little dull. But if you're there if it's not something that you do all the time, it's a really cool way to do a lot of attractions and see a lot of things that you don't see all the time.
That's a good point because I feel what you're saying here is that you can it's a practical experience with these
Yeah.
with this deluxe evening extra hours, but I think, and I'm just trying to get in your head a little from what I'm hearing here, is that you enjoy the atmosphere just as much as the getting on the attractions. And if it feels kind of like a dead park, it doesn't have the same like feel as those
Yeah.
extra magic hours back in the day because the extra magic hours in the back in 2017 the park was still alive at 1:30 in the morning.
Yep,
Everything was
yep,
still alive. You get food, just about everything was still open.
exactly.
Yeah, didn't think about it. I love that because I love hearing all these different perspectives. That's why I love having these Monday shows. Okay, so the next day, you guys kick it off. No Genie Plus on this day, but you guys did Caring for Giants. So give us a little review of this tour over at
Yeah,
Animal Kingdom.
it was super cool. So you go in, you go to the park, you get in, you go straight back to the Kilimanjaro Safaris, and there's that little check-in desk there. You check in, you sign like a waiver or whatever, then give you a name tag. Then you wait around for maybe 15, 20 minutes, and they take you back in behind stage. Um, they get you into a van, they take you back behind the savannah, like into the like elephant care area, and you get to talk about like the care of the elephants, and then you walk up to like where the elephants kind of are on the savannah, and you're able to get a really close encounter with them. Obviously, they're not like ensuring that the elephants are going to be right up next to you because they can't do that. That's not
Yeah,
what
right.
Disney does. But yeah, they have a lot of great stories about the elephants. And this was still in the time of kind of like the magic of Disney's Animal Kingdom, like high on Disney
Mhm.
Plus. So they were telling us a lot of stories about the making of the show and a lot of the elephants that were like featured on the episodes. It was really cool.
So you got to see the stars
Yep.
on Disney Plus. That's super cool. Yeah, I need to. Everybody talks about that one. I got to do that because I really like elephants. I mean, besides the fact that I like Alabama football and that's kind of their mascot, but yeah, I got to give it a shot. So you guys got to do Everest and did one of the trails, Gorilla Trails, and you took a break. Studios that night with Phantasmic Dining Package at Brown Derby. Now, Kevin, my buddy who listens out in Ohio, he's been on me. I've never been to Brown Derby. It's one of the restaurants at Walt Disney World I've never given a shot to. Shout
Gotta go. I
Gotta
love
go.
the Brown
Okay.
Derby. I
Okay. So
love the Brown Derby so much.
I just see everybody says that, but to me, it's a signature restaurant. It just doesn't have a hook. Like it's not a character meal. It doesn't have like an aquarium. It doesn't have, I don't know, it just seems like it doesn't have like the hook. But
The
it
hook is that you're a star.
okay,
You're there.
okay. So okay, good. And the foods. So did you get the Cobb salad and the grapefruit cake? And I mean, did you go the standard route there or what?
Um, I don't remember exactly what I had to eat, but I know that we have had the Cobb salad there in the past. We did get the grapefruit cake. Yeah, it's just I love the Brown Derby. It's one of my favorite dining experiences on property. I really love it there.
All right. Okay. So I got Daniel and Kevin. Got to give it a shot. Probably not this trip because I'm back and I only had one day in the parks, but January I'll be because I run the dopey just to eat. So this sounds like a plan. You got to meet Mickey and Minnie this evening over at the Red Carpet of Dreams, which was the meet and greet area. So was that smoothly run or how was that?
Yeah, so one thing we didn't really expect going into this trip was my sister being so into the character meet and greets as she was, which kind of threw a wrench in the plan. But at the same time, we were there for them. We loved seeing her reaction, going up and meeting the characters. Yeah, we got in, met Minnie and Mickey, and then rolled on over to Phantasmic. It was pretty smooth.
I love this evening though because it looks like it was just really you went over there to have dinner and see Fantasmic. I mean, you met
Yeah.
Mickey Minnie, but I mean, chill dinner or chill evening, which I love because you don't get that much at Walt Disney World. Now, let me. You mentioned here that you bought your first popcorn bucket. I resisted popcorn buckets forever. Scott was buying them all the time. He had so many, and I'm like, why do you buy those things? And then I bought one at Christmas because it was like I like those porcelain Christmas trees that are from like the 70s. My grandma had one, those like glass kind of porcelain looking ones with the little peggy lights that light up. And then Disney made one of those probably about 5 years ago that looked like a popcorn bucket. And so I said, I got to get that popcorn bucket. That was my first. Now they're all over behind me. Like I can't. I'm telling you, you buy one, you'll start because I got the Mr. Toad, I got the balloon, I got. I don't know. I got a few now, which is scary because I don't need them. But you bought your first one, and I guess you bought it at Phantasmic. What did it look like? I can't.
It was the 50th anniversary popcorn bucket with all the iridescent Mickey, Minnie, stuff like that on it.
Nice. So do you feel the need like when they show the new ones, like you see them on social media? Do you have to have another one?
I sometimes do. My mom sometimes feels different, but I do think that if I'm up at a popcorn stand and I see one that I really need, I'm gonna get it.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's a slippery slope. So Now I can't remember. Was this the updated Phantasmic in January? I think it was, right? With the
Yeah,
new
yeah.
update. What'd you think?
So we've seen this was our third time seeing Phantasmic, our second time really seeing Phantasmic. So back on my first trip, we saw Phantasmic, and that was back in 2012. I don't really remember it, but I love Phantasmic. It's such a fun show. It's a great way to end the night over at the studios. Um, the bum rush out of Phantasmic isn't my favorite part, but the
The
show
worst.
is awesome.
Yeah. Getting out of Phantasmic might be one of the worst things at Walt Disney World. Plus, everybody's heading for transportation. Like that's like you have all those people and you're just like, because like I'm usually at Pop Century, I'm like in my head, 90% of these people are going back to Pop Century. The only good news is from there, it's the Skyliner, which at least it isn't a bus like back in the day.
We were
So
able to take the boat or walk back, so it wasn't that
yeah,
bad, but getting out of there with
yeah,
everybody and their
yeah.
7 generations of family there with them, it was insane.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, but being at the villas, you're right. You could just like whoop right around the lake right there on the path and in that side door. Yeah,
Yep.
totally. You guys were, I forgot about that. You were living. I mean, Phantasmic was basically just right across the water from where you were staying. Oh
Yeah,
man,
we
if you,
could see the fireworks at the end every night too.
you guys, do you guys, stupid question, but you guys use the laundry in your one bedroom? Do you guys do any laundry
Yep,
while you're there? Yeah, I was
yep.
gonna
I
say everybody
love doing I need to do the laundry when we do a Disney trip. It's just I feel like it takes such a big burden off of people, me especially, like, oh, it's fantastic.
I always have to ask, and the answer is always yes. Like people always, and it's the funniest thing because if you go up to somebody on the street and be like, "Do you think somebody at Walt Disney World on their vacation does their laundry during their trip?" They'd be like, "Heck no, nobody does their laundry." And I'm telling you what, people that are in DVC units with a one bedroom or higher, they do. So every time. Okay, that's funny. So the next day, now you went right back to the studios, but this looks like okay, now we're here for business. Last night we were
Yeah.
just messing around. We're there for dinner and a show. Today we're knocking it out. So you had Genie Plus getting ready. So it looks like some things worked in your favor, some things didn't. So tell us about some of the highlights on this day, Wednesday.
Yeah, so as you hear on a lot of these shows, you get there in the morning and Rock and Roller Coaster and Tower of Terror are down.
Yeah.
Those are the 2 things my sister was dying to do. That didn't go over so well in the morning with her, but, it's okay. We were able to calm each other down. We rope dropped Mickey and Minnie's. We got through the pre-show. We were in the line to get in the ride vehicle, and the attraction broke down. Luckily, Disney gives you the anywhere, anytime lightning lane. So later in the day, we just use it for Mickey and Minnie's, and everybody in the party loves Mickey and Minnie's. It's such a fun ride. Um, yeah, and we had a um, a Slinky Dog stacked for later in the afternoon, so we were able to do that before we were able to lift the park.
So how did you save that morning though? Because I know you said you decompressed with a lunch at baseline later, but you were going to go for Tower. You were going to go for Rock and Roller Coaster. You had this bad experience with Mickey and Minnie. So you spent a lot of time kind of logistically trying to work through all these frustrations. How did you end up using that morning? Because, obviously time was wasted. What did you end up doing to kind of make it come back?
Um, I mean, I think that we were able to just walk around the park and enjoy the park for what it is. Hollywood Studios is great background loops. It's got great ambiance.
Yep.
It's got great themed areas: Galaxy's Edge, Toy Story Land, the Muppet Square. I love the Muppets.
And you guys were over at baseline. You guys had like good lunch there, kind of light lunch.
Yep, we got the charcuterie board,
Oh,
the pretzel,
had to hit the
and
bell.
my parents got the beer flight. We sat there for a little while. We were able to get a nice table outside too, so we were able to just watch the world go by and chill out after what was kind of a stressful morning.
Cool. And then you're going to hop later on this evening over to the Magic Kingdom. So you kicked it off when you switched over to Steakhouse 71 for dinner. Love
Yep,
this place. Good for you guys.
yep. Me and my mom had gone there before, and we knew my dad would really enjoy it, which he did. We all really loved Steakhouse 71. I think it's a great addition to the contemporary. I mean, I know the Wave always got high reviews, but
Mhm.
I think Steakhouse 71 is more of a destination for a lot of people than.
I agree with you. The wave, I like the wave, but I like Steakhouse 71 a little bit better.
Yeah,
It feels like it belongs more in the contemporary. The wave was kind of like it was nice, but it didn't fit as much. Steakhouse 71 almost feels like it was a part of the contemporary since it was,
yeah,
yeah, built
it's a
to me.
great restaurant.
It is. So you guys, here's crazy, but to me though, you guys arrived during enchantment over, this is before Happily Ever After returned over, to the Magic Kingdom, but looks like you got quite a bit done. I mean, you guys got there late, but you got busy. So tell us about that.
Yeah, so we got there during Enchantment, and Enchantment, like when they started, they opened up like a back way kind of. Well, during the normal day, it's a backstage area, but during Enchantment, it's a kind of a bypass through Main Street USA. So we did that. We took that route and went back to Tomorrowland. Me, my mom, and my sister all rode Space Mountain, and then when we got out, it was pouring, like
Ah,
insane pouring. But it only lasted 5 minutes. It's Florida. It goes quick. We waited that out, and then my mom and my sister really enjoy Under the Sea, so we went over there. We did that. Um, and this was another evening where we did the deluxe evening hours. So me and my sister went off and did Splash Mountain for the last time
yep.
before it closed down and it's going to become Tiana's Bayou Adventure. And then me and my parents went over to do Pirates.
And that, yeah. And then you got to do some extra stuff during the deluxe Magic Hours, like Haunted Mansion.
Yep.
Haunted Mansion would be good during the deluxe Magic Hours, even if the park felt dead. Because I mean that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only my mom and me stayed for the deluxe evening
Okay.
hours. We went back and did Haunted Mansion because we didn't do it before. Yeah, it was again the deluxe evening hours kind of felt a little wonky because there's nobody there. A lot of the dining opportunities are closed, but yeah, we did Haunted Mansion and we strolled down Main Street USA.
I like how you guys hop because I do that every time with my family. I just need a change of scenery from morning to evening.
Yeah,
I
we
just
like to take that nice mid-afternoon break
yeah.
and decompress and then hit the ground running again.
This is exactly us, my family, since the time we've been going. Okay, so the next day was Thursday. You guys had Genie Plus, kicked it. You head to Epcot, but before Epcot, you go over to Trattoria Al Forno on the well, you guys are over the villas, so right there in your resort area. I love Trattoria El Forno. One of my places, breakfast or dinner, doesn't matter. Was it good for you guys?
Yeah, it was great. The 3 days prior to this were kind of like waking up early, getting in the parks for that as close to early park entry as we could. So we tried to create these last 2 days as kind of like more of a vacation than a
Mhm.
theme park. So we went to Trattoria Al Forno for breakfast. Had a really calm, relaxing breakfast there. We all really enjoyed it. It was surprising to me how much I liked it.
Yeah, it looks like you got in the virtual queue for Guardians. The timing didn't work out, so you just kind of looks like you did some, solid future world classic stuff. Figment, Living with the Land, Soarin', Spaceship Earth. Just wandered around and called it a morning, which I mean, to me, I mean, Trattoria Al Forno and those kind of things, that's a perfect morning for me, especially as you're kind of just chilling out and having a good, relaxing start to your day. I like that.
Yeah.
It's awesome. So then you took your break, Animal Kingdom in the afternoon. So, and then you're actually going to come back to Epcot in the evening. So, this midday over to Animal Kingdom, how was that? Because again, we talked with somebody a couple weeks ago who I'd never thought about hopping to the Animal Kingdom later in the day. I always go there first and hop out. You guys hopped in the afternoon. How'd you feel about that?
Yeah, so we went back to Animal Kingdom in the afternoon because the first day that we were there, we only really did like
A few
the
things.
Africa and Asia sections. So we went over to Pandora, we did Navi, we did Flight of Passage, and we were there till like s- as close to park closing as we could, so we could see a little glimpse of Pandora at night because that's something that's kind of hard to come by now since
Yeah, it is.
Animal Kingdom closes so early.
Yeah, they're finally going to do, I think, one
Right.
evening deluxe hour there. I saw here, I think in November soon, which is good because that park is gorgeous at night and they never keep it open at night. And that so you guys did have San Angelo in this night for dinner because
Yeah.
you switched up early.
I don't remember where I think our original reservation was at Animal Kingdom for Yak and Yeti, but we were kind of done with Animal Kingdom. We'd done what we wanted to see. And since we were over at Epcot, we were like, you know what, we'll just go to San Angelo Inn. I wanted to eat there. And I loved it. I thought it was great. We got a table near the uh, Three Caballeros boat ride. Went right by us all the time. It was really cool to see, and yeah, it was really cool to see. Be
Yeah, I
there.
love it.
Yeah,
Mexican food and just classic Epcot there with the volcano and the ride. It's almost like being in Blue Bayou out of Disneyland. It's so cool. All right, so your last full day is Friday, January 13th. You guys get Genie Plus. You hit Hollywood Studios. It looks like luck was more on your side this morning than it was a couple days earlier. So tell us about this day.
Yep. So my mom and sister got to do Tower of Terror and Rock and Roller Coaster. That was really important to them. So I'm glad we were able to do that. We all love Toy Story Mania so much, so we headed back to Toy Story Land to do that, and then we kind of just meandered the park a little while, did some shopping, chilled out in Hollywood Studios, and soaked it all in that morning.
And then you guys hopped over to Epcot again because you're right there at the boardwalk, and, right between these two parks. Was this the first day of Festival of the Arts when it kicked
Yeah,
off?
it
You
was
said it
the
was super
very
busy.
first day. It was incredibly busy. Luckily, we were able to get in pretty much as soon as the festival booths were opening up, so we were able to kind of go around and see some of the stuff they had there before all the crowds rolled in. But yeah, it got super busy in the afternoon.
Yeah, those first days, like all the people, the social media people are there getting content, and then you got, the locals that are excited to get to see a new festival. I mean, yeah, I'd be excited too if I was a local, get over there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's insane. But I love that festival. It's so fun. That's a good one. And then it looks like you guys. So here's something I'll throw out there real quick. Disney Visa has that meet and greet, which I think a lot of, I mean, I know a lot of our listeners have Disney Visas. Take advantage of this. I'm telling
Oh, yeah.
myself I never do. But so where was this and how did it work out for you?
So, like I said before, my sister was really into the character meet and greets. The Visa card holder meet and greet is over in the Imagination Pavilion. So it's not like in the area where Figment and all the like image work stuff is. It's off to the left, past the Pixar Short Film Festival. So you go in there and you just prove that you have your Disney Visa, and the characters aren't known. They're not known to you before you get in there and you see the characters. So that's pretty cool. Um, it was Goofy, Mickey, and Minnie, I believe. So it was pretty prime meet and greet that we were able to do with like a 5-10 minute wait.
Yeah, it is. I remember us doing these so long ago that they were in Interventions
Yeah,
over next to Where's the Fire, I think. Here's a blast from the past. And I think it was usually Goofy was in there most of the time, or Goofy or Pluto. And you would get a printout of your picture. This was actually before digital pictures. So, I mean, digital pictures were around, but you got like an 8x10 or 5x7. I think it was an 8x10 though, like digital picture at the camera center. Like, yeah, how many things did I just say that are so old right there in that sentence? But yeah, you got that at, to the left there as you're walking out of the park, under Spaceship Earth there. Yeah, it was,
right.
I mean, that was a value because they had to print those things. Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna have to take advantage of it. So also you guys went to Garden Grill. And you
Yeah,
said Patrick, best waiter ever. So what happened here?
yeah. So originally we were gonna go to Flying Fish on the boardwalk, but we were like, we're already in Epcot. We don't want to go back to the resort, get all dressed up or put ourselves together and stuff like that. So we took advantage of that 2 hour cancellation for Garden Grill. We got like a super great reservation. It was like 6 or 6:30 or something like that. Garden Grill was fantastic. We loved it so much, but I don't know if our experience would have been as good if we didn't have our waiter Patrick. He was just super, super like attentive. Uh, he was funny. We were there for a little while, so like the characters would come around. Like we stay there for like at least two revolutions of the characters. So like when he saw a character come over to us, he's like, they've been here for too long. You can go to the next party. And then like for the people who've gone to Garden Grill, you go around and you see Living with the Land, and then there's that house
Yep.
you see right at the end. and me and my sister were like peering in, and like it's like fully furnished in there. It's like it looks like somebody could live in there.
I
So we
yeah,
asked him like about the house and stuff like that, and he gave us some story. It was super cool.
that is super cool. I love when cast members give you that, because
Yeah,
like I can tell, they've got somebody that's really into this, like
yeah,
us. Like I wouldn't know, like because I had no idea there was stuff in that house. Like that's
yeah,
why again I love these Monday shows. I had no idea, but I'm always curious about that house because there's rumors like, is that the front of the house from the Carousel of Progress, or is that the dog from Carousel? There's all people say Horizons was Carousel of Progress Part 2. I've read all those theories. Who
yeah.
knows?
It's like a 5/8 size house, but like when you really look at it, it's like it's got chairs in the upstairs room. Like, and it didn't need to do that, but they
No
did it.
kidding.
So it's super cool to be able to have that unique perspective of it.
And then I see something here that would make Scotty G so happy, and me too. You guys watched Impressions de France before you
Yep.
left?
Me and my mom kind of puts up with it for me, but I really love the Circle Vision films. Uh, Impressions de France is my favorite film of those, and like I even watch it on like YouTube at home. I love it that much. So that was a great way to round out our trip, and that was like the perfect way to end our last night in the parks.
Man, that is a good way to end it. Then you get the next day, you gotta get out of town, so you're heading out to Primo Piatto though for breakfast over at the Riv. I mean, that's a good way to kind of hit the road. That's not bad. And
Yep,
and you went to the Springs too.
yep.
Did you
Yeah,
guys
we
do
were at the
shopping?
Springs our first day too, so we were kind of. I was personally a little bit like Springs out, but my sister wanted to go look at all the shops and stuff like that again. So we did that. It was cold that day too. So if you're going down in January, remember it can be a little chilly.
Yeah, I can't. Hard to believe right now though, because it's hot where you are.
Oh yeah.
All right, Daniel. What a great trip report because we've learned a lot. I mean, it is fun just to kind of have a virtual trip here for 45 minutes down at Walt Disney World and think about all the great restaurants, the attractions, the fun. But you gave so many good tips that are going to be practical to help folks that are planning on heading down to Walt Disney World here in the next month, the next year. It's good stuff. So, Daniel, thanks for taking the time and hope to do this again sometime. So, thanks again for coming on the show.
Yeah, sure thing. Thank you for having me.
All right. Don't forget today's podcast always brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. Check them out today for your next Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Cruise Line, or Adventures by Disney vacation. The agents are standing by right now, and it costs you nothing extra to book with the Magic for Less. So check them out today over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link. It's beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. That one extra click supports us throughout the year. Again, beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And a sincere thank you to our patrons. You guys make all these shows possible. We put out as many shows as we can, and it keeps the archives up, which over 2,400 shows, that's a big archive. So you can support us starting at just $5 a month, and you'll get a bonus show every week. It's called Mike in the Midwest. So if you'd like to support us, coming over, we'd love to have you. Patreon.com/Be Our Guest Podcast. Give me a follow on social media at Be Our Guest Mike, Instagram and Twitter. Also on Threads. And we'll have a live show this Sunday night, 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. Give us a call. We'll talk Disney with you. It's going to be a lot of fun, recapping all the fun from this past weekend down at Give Kids the World. All right, we're going to jump out of here. So thank you to Daniel. And we are going to have fun shows for you this week. Wednesday, listener questions. Friday, a topical show. I think we're going to talk with Pam about her adventures by Disney out to Southern California with that access to Muppets and the archives and Disneyland and all that good stuff. Who knows? We'll just stay tuned. We'll tell you about Friday on Wednesday. So until then, you guys have an awesome week. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon. All right, Daniel, thanks so much. That was great.
Thank you. Have a good one. Have fun down at
I
the
will.
village and everything you're doing down there.
I will. Just got to make sure I get it. I know I'm going to forget something. That's my biggest nightmare, but we'll see. Because the thing is, so I get all the equipment from my dad, right? Because he's the engineer for the Rams. So he's got
Right.
all the equipment to do all the wiring and stuff. So he's got his stuff out in Los Angeles right now for the Rams season opener on Sunday because they kick off on Sunday. He got a call 2 days ago that the Detroit Lions need their engineer for tomorrow night. They don't have their engineers out. He can't make the game in Kansas City. So my dad now has to go to Kansas. He's in Kansas City right now. So he's doing the Lions against the Chiefs tomorrow night, but he doesn't have his gear. His gear's in Los Angeles. So he had to come up with a whole second set of gear, like mixers and mics and cables. And he's got enough to do a second set. But like all the stuff I was going to take to Give Kids a World, like that's what he had to use. So now I'm using like the third set of stuff. So it's been crazy because he's like, I got to use it in Kansas City. I'm like, well, forget the Lions. But it's his job. So whatever. So I got to make sure I don't forget the stuff I have now. So we'll see. It'll be fun. Yeah. Anyway, thanks. I appreciate it. And I hope it cools off for you soon.
Yep. Thank you.
See you later. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.